Hi, I'm Brooklyn Shock with the Arkansas Anime Festival. Be sure to catch the Caine interviews on Cat TV, Fayetteville, Arkansas. See you soon.
Hi, you're watching the Caine interviews. I'm Shannon Caine. Today on the show, we'll be talking with Brooklyn Shock about the Arkansas Anime Festival. Now, if you're an anime and gaming fan, you're going to want to check this out. This year's festival will be held in Bentonville, Arkansas, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And we're going to learn about the festival's history, the types of events that you can catch there, and a whole lot more. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
All right, now, how long has this particular festival been running, and how has it evolved over time?
Well, we actually started in November of '07. Had about a year's worth of planning before that. And as far as evolving goes, our first event, we thought we'd have about 200 people. We had about 1,000. Wow. So it was pretty intense. The traffic flow was pretty heavy. The kids had a lot of fun. We had a lot of people in costume. We were very unorganized because we were not prepared. Since then, we have evolved into a decently tuned machine. We have people that are good in specific areas and getting things done. We've gotten better panels, better guests, better presentations. We have game shows, prizes, vendors that come in from all over the country. It's really become quite a large event, actually.
Cool. Okay, so that first one was pretty educational, wasn't it?
And frightening.
All right. Now, for those in our audience who know absolutely nothing about anime, could you explain a little bit about the world of anime?
Anime is just like anything else you see on TV, except it's animated. Most of it comes from Japan. There is actually anime in other countries, but most of what you'll see here is Japanese animation. And like you'd have any kind of thing on television, you'd have, comedies or westerns or science fictions or mysteries or, anything that you would see here, you can find it in anime and animation form. And it literally runs the spectrum from younger audiences all the way up to mature audiences. Most of what you're going to find is going to be a bracket of about, I'm going to say 12 to about 35 is the main viewing audience for anime. But it's guaranteed to be entertaining no matter what venue you enjoy on television.
All right. Okay, now tell us about some of the special guests that you've had in the past and who you've got in the lineup for this year's convention.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be our biggest year. We have some really, really amazing names. In the past, brought my little notes so I get everybody's names correctly.
Okay, all right.
We had Tiffany Grant. If you're an Evangelion fan, she played Asuka on Evangelion. We had Johnny Young Bosch. He actually did Vash the Stampede and Trigun, Lelouch in Code Geass, and he also played Adam the Black Power Ranger. Oh. So he had multiple things going on there. We've had Kyle Haybear. He's fantastic. If you're a fan of Bleach, which actually airs on television now, they may have taken off for a while. He plays Aizen on Bleach. He also did a lot of Dragon Ball GT. He did Gohan. We have Samantha Inouye Hart, which comes in almost every show, and she is actually an animator and a producer, and she also does gore effects makeup for Hollywood. She's actually one of their top dogs for all that kind of stuff. She also does a lot of B-rate and cult films. She really enjoys the underground scene quite a bit. She's really amazing. We've had some really, really amazing people. This spring, our show, our big guest is Vic Mignogna. He plays Edward Elric on a series called Full Metal Alchemist, which is one of the top grossing animes in the US right now. Right. We have Chris Ayers. He does parts in Ouran High School Host Club, One Piece, and Devil May Cry, and probably 40 or 50 others. Wow. All of our guests have massive amounts of names underneath their belt that they've played. We've got Wendy Powell coming. She does the character of Envy from Full Metal Alchemist, also a very popular character. Todd Habercorn, he was Hikaru in Oron High School Host Club. He also played Kiroro on Sergeant Frog. Probably means nothing to you, but in the anime fan world, these are really big names.
Well,
We're
yeah,
really excited.
This is major stuff. Yeah.
We're very excited about our lineup this spring.
Okay, cool. Well, now how important are the fans themselves in keeping this festival running?
Oh, massively important. First of all, nobody wants to go to a festival to have fun if there's nobody there.
Right.
So, and this is kind of, it being a different culture, a lot of people that are involved in this aren't necessarily interested in many of the things the community has to offer. A lot of these kids are very, very intelligent, and they need things that challenge them or things that really engage their imaginations. Being around 500 to 1,000 kids who, have the same interests as them, or young adults that have the same interests as them, it's fantastic. It wouldn't be a festival, a place of fun, if they weren't there.
Right.
Plus there's, of course, all the things that people want to get involved in, and it requires a lot of time and effort. So if there weren't people there, it wouldn't be any fun.
All right. Well, you had mentioned kids and young adults. Do you tend to see a fairly wide age spectrum of attendees, or is does it really tend to be more from the teenage to young adult range?
Our show, now other shows differ, but our demographic tends to be younger people, young adults. We do have some really hardcore older fans, but since the anime wasn't readily available in the States until just the last few years, it's been somewhat difficult to get involved. If you were, say, in your 30s and 40s, you didn't always have access to anime. Yeah, you saw the little tiny bits that your friends, brought in from Japan or over from the military or whatever, then you got to see bits and pieces of that. But really now, the youth and the young adults are really getting involved. So the age range is pretty young right now for our convention. Now, other states, it kind of varies.
Okay. Now, the event website mentions some 24-hour events. Which of the events will be running 24 hours?
Right now, we're still working on our schedule events because things flip-flop and change. Always redoing, always renewing. But we do have tabletop gaming, which will have all kinds of card games, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, lots of role-playing kind of stuff. Those will go all night because we have lots of people that want to stay up all night, hang out with their friends because they don't get the opportunity. We also have a video game room, which will have several systems and video games set up. We're working on a LAN party, which will have kids actually connected to each other in a big room, all versing each other all night long. We're also talking about doing like slumber parties and things of that nature.
Cool, okay. And now you mentioned the tabletop gaming. So to make it clear, not just anime, but also into gaming as well.
Yeah, indeed. Many of our attendees are involved in both aspects because both of them require a certain amount of realms of fantasy, I guess you could say, to be involved with.
That would be the tie between anime and gaming, right? Just the simple use of the imagination.
Oh, yeah.
Or world building.
That's very important on both.
Okay. Now, do you have a list of, a tentative list of this year's events?
Well, I can tell you things like we're going to have a lot of parody game shows, like we do a Whose Line Is It Anime.
Okay.
We do the anime dating game, Anime Jeopardy. We do a live-action human chess match.
Cool.
Where the characters get up and a person controls the characters on the board and they fight in their character style. We have a dance-off, we have a rave, we have a masquerade, which started out as a full-blown masquerade and then turns into a dance party. We have panels by our guests that come in. They talk about what it takes to get into the anime business, what it's like being in it, what all is required in production of the actual elements of things. We have classes on costuming. We usually have somebody come in and talk about how to get involved in what's called a Dolphy culture. There's just a lot of really cool stuff. We have artists that come and show off their local artwork, vendors that come from all over and sell things. We have a LARP group that comes in and does live action role play, of course, all the tabletop and the video games. There's always something to do. You will never be bored.
Wow, okay. Now, you had mentioned your first festival surprising you with the 1,000 attendees. Now, approximately how many are you guessing at for attendance this year?
So far, since we've gone from the beginning of 2007, our attendance has fluctuated anywhere from 800 to 1,200.
Okay.
I think 860 is our lowest number. This year, with the amount of people, the amazing guests, especially Vic Mignogna being one of our guests, he's woo. I'm anticipating between 1,000 and 1,500 people to show up.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm a little scared. It's okay, not gonna lie, I'm a little scared.
Okay, now when one thinks of anime, one doesn't automatically think Arkansas. So how strong is the Arkansas scene?
You know, it's building. It really is. I was really surprised when someone challenged me to have an anime festival. I literally realized that Hawaii had 3 anime festivals and Alaska has 2. but Arkansas didn't have one. And it really surprised me because there really are a lot of people here who are really interested in it. This part of the country tends to draw people in with wild imaginations or people who are seeking higher learning, and those people are also drawn to anime. So the influx is pretty intense, and we're getting a pretty big fan base.
Wow, okay. So eventually Arkansas may very well be known as one of those places
It
to
might
go,
be.
the place to be.
I hope so. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, all right. Well, now, if somebody were wanting to just kind of look at some footage from past conventions.
Oh my.
Is there any online for them to check out?
There is a ton.
A ton.
If you hop on YouTube, of course, everybody loves YouTube,
Oh, yeah.
and type in Arkansas Anime or Anime Arkansas or Anime Festival in Arkansas, there are hundreds of videos and slideshows from our previous years. The kids just absolutely adore it. There's tons of them on there.
Wow, okay. Now, how long have you personally been into anime, and what is it that really draws you to it?
Well, originally I wasn't, believe it or not. I was very discerning when it came to certain things, and I didn't have time, or so I thought, for a lot of things. But my ex-husband was fantastic, very instrumental in introducing me to some amazing things. I had always thought that anime was all blood and guts and gore and blah, but no, like I said, it runs the spectrum. There's amazing things. I like comedic, I like sci-fi, mystery, and especially a lot of the older animes produced in like the early to mid 80s. Fantastic. Oh, great storylines, wonderful animation, fantastic characters to be immersed in. It's really nice. He got me into it around 1998. I had seen some of it by around 1995. Wasn't a big fan. Probably became a really big fan around 98 or 99.
Yeah, okay. And what is it that pulls you into it?
It's really nice to get lost in. There's always that, well, what if I was this character, or what if I was that character, or what if that happened to me, or there's a couple of series where a character gets sucked into an alternate dimension or a different world or a different time, and it's nice to have something that sparks your imagination, takes you away from all the scary things of real life.
Yeah, and so a bit of escapism, as it were.
Yeah, oh, it's fantastic.
Okay, well, and then if you get enough people wondering what is going to happen to that character, you get a festival.
You do,
right?
you do indeed.
Okay.
And they love to dress up and act out their own things. Oh, well, if I had been that character, this is what would have happened. We have kids acting out, I say kids, and young adults, I've done it myself, acting out things in the hallways, scenes from certain animes where they've changed it or they've introduced a different character that wasn't there before.
Okay,
It's
so
infinite possibilities.
So it's fluid. It can be open to your own interpretation.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. And they mix a lot of things like history and science and mythology, a lot of that kind of stuff. So you can actually learn some neat things.
Cool, and do you have a lot of maybe interaction with multiple storylines?
There are some that are starting to really now interact back and forth. A lot of the same artists that do things are crossing over and blending storylines and blending characters, and that's becoming really popular actually. And it's really neat. Sometimes it's a little cataclysmic, but most of the time it's pretty neat. But a lot of the kids like a certain genre, and they will intermingle that themselves and make up their own. They have what's called fan fiction, which is where
Right.
they write their own interpretation of the story.
Sure, there's a whole world of fanfic and
Oh,
fan
yeah.
art.
Oh, yeah.
And enough to keep any fan busy.
Forever.
Yeah, you can roll your own. I mean, it's like you can take your story and kind of adapt it. And we won't even go to Slash. And now, how much work has gone into the planning of this festival?
Oh, more than I could ever tell you in any amount of time. There are the festival heads. I can't tell you how many times at 3 o'clock in the morning one of us will be calling the other one, hey, I've got this really great idea. Oh, were you sleeping? Oh, wake up, I have to talk about this. So there's sleepless nights, there's tons and tons and tons of time and effort. Of course, the financial end of things is always really sketchy, especially in these times. Mm-hmm. But we've had a tremendous amount of support. We have an amazing network of staff and volunteers. But yeah, a lot of effort. You have to get all the guests, you have to get all the panels, you have to make sure everything runs fluently, and since we are a family-friendly convention, we also have to make sure that content doesn't get out of control.
Okay. So, and your panelists, right? I mean, you mentioned like financial investment into this whole thing, and I'm assuming your panelists aren't doing it for free, so...
Some do, some don't. It depends. A lot of them are just fans. They want to come share their fandom with somebody. Now, we do fly in the guests that I spoke of earlier. They fly in from other states.
Right.
We actually tried to get one from Japan this year, but schedule conflicts were not so great. But they fly in and they, of course, want compensation. They are professionals after all, and we want to make sure that they know how much we appreciate them. So there's the cost of the venue and all the things that are involved. It gets very tedious. Sometimes I want to throw my hands in the air and walk away, but then I realize that it's going to be an absolute blast when it finally all fits together, and that makes you just keep going.
And so from each one, it's kind of a consecutive learning experience with
Oh,
from
yeah.
one festival to the next. From
Trial
a
and
year.
error.
Yeah.
Last year this didn't work out so well. Perhaps we shouldn't do that. Maybe we'll try this.
Okay, now, and you had mentioned people in costume. You definitely are going to have that. And so
yes.
just a little departure here. Now, conventions are often booked in hotels, and when a bunch of costume people descend upon a hotel, does it ever like freak out the other guests?
You know, occasionally we have people that voice their opinions rather loudly. Most of the time we get mixed reviews. Let me refer to my notes here. Oh yes. Thankfully, most of our attendees are polite, couth. They're good people. They are here, for lack of better terming, it's kind of like a nerd thing.
Yeah.
None of them are violent, horrible creatures or anything. We just we try very hard to make it known that what we're into isn't scary. We try to get other people involved, and you can't really win over friends both with ugliness.
Right.
So of course we have a lot of the kids that, oh yes ma'am and no ma'am, and, and some of the people in the hotels are very surprised. Some of the people in the hotels are still very disturbed at the fact that there's somebody with a neon pink sword and blue and green hair running past. But for the most part, we've had a pretty decent reaction because most of our attendees are very polite.
Right. You want to make this event look like something people want to attend.
Right.
Yeah. And but I was just like imagining, the 80-year-old couple from Corn Cob, Iowa, getting the elevator. Yeah.
We had that sort of happen at the last one. We had a group of, I want to say they were probably in their 60s, and they had come to escape to Fayetteville. I don't know where they were from, but they came down the elevator the first day of our convention and immediately went right back up and requested the security from the hotel escort them down.
Oh no.
And when they finally were escorted down, they realized that we weren't going to attack them when they got out of the elevator, and they actually came by to talk to me to ask, what's going on? So there's definitely been fear struck in the heart of a few. And it's sad to laugh at it because we know we're harmless. But when you've not been exposed, it doesn't exactly look harmless sometimes.
Well, there's always that element of surprise. If you walk into a scene that you're not familiar with, and all of a sudden
I would imagine that
you're
would be
confronted with, what to you might as well be something from Mars. Yeah, I could see, somebody kind of flipping out.
I could see that being an issue.
And so it brings me to the next question. What is the weirdest or the most potentially funny thing that ever happened to you at an anime convention?
I thought about that question, and I don't know that I have one specific thing, but I will say that at my first anime convention, the thing that surprised me the most was something called a glomp. At anime conventions, one of the big things that's become so popular is glomping someone. And what it is a surprise, attack, running hug. And there's nothing like talking to someone, trying to be all important and serious, and having someone come up and just kind of tackle you to the ground with a hug that you cannot fend off. And to this day, I'm still not used to the glomp, but there are a lot of our attendees that think it's pretty funny to run up and glomp me.
Yes, but at least at this point, you may actually expect it.
Yeah, I've kind of on guard all the time now.
You're kind of watching out of both corners.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna
But
glomp
if
me
you're going to
here?
go to an anime festival or an anime convention, you definitely have to be ready for the glomping. And as far as first-time experiences, that was my most memorable.
Who is this strange person and what do they want?
And the person who glomped me had
had
neon pink spiky hair. It wasn't anyone I knew. That's the other thing. There's lots of physical hugging and hanging on that goes on, and I wasn't used to that. And it's neat.
A
It's
bit
kinda
of
cool.
drive-by glomping.
It is.
A total stranger.
It really is.
Okay.
Not something you'd do in Walmart.
Right. Although that would be interesting if
Can only
it
imagine
happened.
the reaction.
Yeah. Well, now, in parting, give us the full details once again on where and when the Arkansas Anime Festival will be taking place.
The Arkansas Anime Festival will be held March 6th and 7th of this year.
Okay.
We're having a free pre-party on March 5th. It's being held at the Clarion. And I have my happy little address here, which is at 211 Southeast Walton Boulevard in Bentonville. But you can also find out everything you'd like to find out off our website, which is arkansasanimefestival.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, you've been watching the Caine interviews, and I'm Shannon Caine. We've been talking with Brooklyn Shock about the Arkansas Anime Festival, and we'll catch you next time. Cat TV, Channel 18, Fayetteville, Arkansas. See ya.